Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Juggernaut, and today I have something a bit different for you. Namely, the Total War Warhammer 2 Skaven in-engine trailer has been released, as well as the unit roster for Warhammer Total War 2, or officially Total War Warhammer 2, whatever. So I want to share a few thoughts on that, and react to the trailer and all that, which is not something I think I've ever done on this channel. But it is quite common among, well, pretty much everyone on YouTube, right? They react to trailers and announcements and stuff like that. So I've never done it, but this is a bit different though, because Skaven, I think my second or third favorite faction in Warhammer. So that I figured they deserve this. Vampires being number one, of course, and after that, well, I don't know, it's a bit of a toss-up between a few others, but at any rate, let's take a look at the trailer, and I'll share you my thoughts on how the gameplay might look, and because Skaven are very unique, and I think that the gameplay around this faction needs to change, and you can't just have rat units instead of Empire units, and have it be that, or have one unique quirk to the entire faction. I think they need to play differently, very differently from anything else. So without any further ado, trailer. Alright. Look at its adorable fluffy arse. Oh, hello. Interesting. So where are the Skaven? I'll play as tiny rats, am I? Okay. Oh, fun. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Actual proper combat. What is that? Okay, I thought we were going to do the bit by bit later, but this I want to see again really quickly. It's a hilarious contraption. It's a rat wheel, of course it is. Oh, that's brilliant. It's a minigun! Yes. Very Skaven-y. Backstab the shit out of her. Alright. Ooh. Okay, now I'm impressed. And the pre-order now, I guess. Announcement at the end. Yeah, there we go. No, not yet. Now, there we go. Pre-order now and get blah blah blah. Alright, don't do that, by the way. Don't pre-order anything ever. It's my philosophy, but hey. You're all entitled to whatever the hell you want to do, but at any rate, actually I will talk about it. If you want to talk about pre-ordering, look up Total Biscuit's opinion on it, and that opinion from like a couple of months ago, and why it's terrible and why pre-ordering should go away. Pretty much fully agree with him. But at any rate, let's go through this bit by bit. So at the start, we see the Dark Elves and the other guys, Lizardmen, fighting, or marching, and then the fighting starts from about here. I was hoping we would see more units from the Skaven, and by that I mean like more individually focused units, if that makes any sense. So we saw the minigun. Hold up, there we go. How the fuck this is gonna work, I don't know. Because here's the thing with these machine guns, quote unquote, that the Skaven have developed. They tend to spontaneously explode, murdering half the population. I'm pretty sure that's not going to be a viable option to put in the game, right? You're going to need to make them a little bit more reliable, shall we say, right? Because if it just explodes and wipes out everything on the map, that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? I mean, why would you have such a unit? So, actually, you could make it explode and do, like, a bit of damage to everything around it. That would be fun, but have, like, a small percentage chance to do it. At any rate, I'm blabbering now. This seems ridiculously powerful to me. Right? Like, this seems like something that could replace potentially 2 to 3 units of traditional archers, right? Quarrelers if you're the dwarves, or pistoliers maybe, or something like that if you're the Empire, or crossbowmen if you're the Empire, right? I mean, this seems ridiculously powerful to me. I don't know how it's going to be implemented. Next was the wheel thing that I really found attractive, but other than that, we saw the what's-his-face Legendary Lord. That's fine. We saw this thing. I mean, I was going to talk about this at the end, but yeah, so I was hoping for more individual units to be showcased of the Skaven, but we're going to have to look at that in the unit roster a little bit later. So, the wheel thing. Yeah, here it is. I wonder how many of these contraptions we're going to have as the Skaven. How we get these contraptions, I don't really care that much, because you'll know if you're playing as the dwarves, it's kind of difficult to get all the high-end dwarf like gyrocopters and stuff like that. It's rather expensive and takes a bit of time. I'm okay if it's similar with the Skaven, but makes these things like ridiculously powerful. I'm okay with that. Like, you know, yeah, you can get a minigun by turn 70, but you're gonna sink in like 20,000 credits or dark power, whatever they're gonna call it, and then like have 3 or 4 different buildings that you need to build and research tech for it and all that. That's okay by me, but I wonder how many of these things we're gonna see, because the Skaven have a fuck ton of these inventions. Right, not a lot of them are very commonplace, needless to say, but they are rather innovative, shall we say. I mean, they're a bit stupid, and most of their I gave it away. Most of their inventions tend to explode randomly, but yeah, they're rather innovative. So I wonder how much we're going to be able to play around with that. And also, I was hoping to see maybe something about their hints, maybe towards their gameplay. But no, we just saw a battle here, so fair enough. Right, then. The Skaven Army roster from August 18th, 2017 by this lad. So, this is from the official Total War website. I'm not going to read any of this. So, the Skaven, sometimes known as Ratman, blah blah blah. You can read this up yourselves. The Legendary Lords, the Queek Headtaker. This is basically just lore for him and for Lord Skrolk, so you can read this up in your own time. There's the link, or you can just pause the video and read it, whatever. But I'm just going to take a look at the unit roster and tell you what I think about it, and I forgot to turn off notifications, whatever. Here's the thing. So, melee Legendary Lords, fair enough. I should turn off notifications, right? So, melee heroes. Assassins, no mount. So, fair enough. I mean, this is pretty much standard. It says assassin, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be just like a spy. That's pretty much the exact same function. You can attack units with it, you can try and assassinate characters with it, or you can try and sabotage with it. Pretty sure it's going to be the same thing. Warlock Engineer. I am looking forward to his abilities. That's what makes me most curious about these things. Warlock Engineer. Can you give him like an ability that gives him equipment, or an ability that is castable but he uses like I don't know, grenades or something like that? Just to pull a random thing out of my arse, right? I wonder what they're going to do with his abilities. That's what excites me about a Warlock Engineer. Plague Priest. I mean, pretty obvious, right? He debuffs AoE, Maybe protection on friendly units, stuff we've seen already, just reskinned and called Plague. Right, so uses Lore of Plague, sorry. Mounts Foot Plague Furnace. Plague Furnace. That's an interesting mount. Okay, on to the actual unit roster, right. Melee Infantry, level 1, Skaven Slaves, then Skaven Spears, and Skaven Slingers. Or, you know, Skaven Slave Spears, Skaven Slave Slingers. So, let's think about this. Well, I would assume that this is something like the zombies from the Vampire Counts. And if it's not, if the Skaven Slave Spears are on the same level as Empire Spearmen, I would be disappointed, because Skaven Slaves should, in every way, shape, and form, be a lot worse than proper Empire, be it peasants, but somewhat trained and equipped, right? So, in my opinion, the Empire Infantry should have an advantage over the Skaven Slave Spears. Or, if you will, the Vampire Counts Spearmen as well. It's kind of difficult to compare any of this to the Orc units or to Bretonnia units. Actually, Bretonnia gets off fairly well. They're kind of similar, but the Bretonnian peasants should be, I think, maybe just slightly better than Skaven Slaves. This, I think, should be on the same level as zombies. Huge numbers, highly expendable, but obviously you won't have any ways of summoning them in a battle like you do with the vampires, so I'm just really hoping that this isn't your basic level 1 infantry and it's perfectly balanced to be the same as every other level 1 infantry in the game. That would be a bit stupid. As far as the Skaven Slaves and the same arm with Spears are concerned, Slingers, on the other hand, I'm worried about in the opposite direction. So, needless to say, since they're slaves, you're going to have a fuck ton of them, and they're going to be cheap. I'm worried about balance here, because if you remember the Orc Ara boys from some time ago, they were the best unit in the game. Because you could run away with them, and their damage was absurd. Highest level skirmish units couldn't stand up to them. And they didn't necessarily have to have a lot of damage, but it's just the way they played. Here, I'm thinking, since you're going to have so many of them, I'm a bit worried about the balance. You know, not necessarily them doing a lot of damage to begin with, but there just being too many of them. You know, it sort of starts to accumulate. So I'm hoping they playtest this quite a lot. Right, level up is Clan Rats. Now these should be somewhere in the domain of Empire Swordsmen, Empire Spearmen, maybe Crypt Ghouls, right? Somewhere in the power levels, somewhere around there. Those with shields and with spears. So good, you know, that's okay. And then we have a level 3 unit, which is Storm Vermin. So I'm just really hoping that these guys are like the middle ground, and these guys are really weak. Because if they make these average, these guys slightly better, and these guys slightly better than that, it's just boring, right? I want the Storm Vermin to be hell good, right? To be ridiculously good. The Clan Rats should be the medium, sort of like in between, like the mediocre troops, and these should be worth jack shit. But they should be ridiculously cheap and easy to recruit as well. So, large units as well for the Skaven Slaves. Needless to say, Storm Vermin. I'm interested to see all these units in. I wish I had like pictures of these units to show at the side here, but I don't. So yeah, those come with Hellbeards, swords, and shields, and that's about it. So yeah, the Storm Vermin should be really, really powerful. Next infantry is Plague Monks and Plague Monks Censer Bearer. Supposedly these will be support infantry, right? You would use these as support infantry. Maybe with some abilities? Kind of like the goblins, they can cast a few, the night goblins The Night Goblin Fanatics, actually, yeah, those can cast a few different abilities to debuff the enemy and buff themselves, and exchange armor for damage, I think it was. Something like that. I think you can put a few plague-related abilities to these guys, and that will make them fun to use. Next, Missile Infantry is Night Runners, with slings as well. So, Night Runners. They're not very good, right? Here's the thing. Night Runners are pretty damn stupid. Actually, they're idiots. But they... I'm wondering what the difference... See, now I'm wondering what the difference between these guys is and the Skaven Slave Slingers. Because you'd think it'd be obvious, right? Well... Yes and no. I'm kind of hoping that the Night Runners aren't just a flat upgrade to the Skaven Slaves. If you just want to have more Night Runners than Skaven Slaves in your army 9 times out of 10, that's fine. But I'm hoping that the Skaven Slaves have some twist or unique characteristic to them that the Night Runners don't. Even if it's just the price, but it would need to be a pretty heavy impact. Right? So, next is Gutter Runners. Gutter Runners with poison and with slings. Gutter Runners are, okay, they're a step above Night Runners. I would expect them to be better. That's okay, so that's like just an entire tier up. I'm okay with these being just a flat upgrade from the Night Runners. Ones with poison are going to be interesting. I'm wondering, how much are we going to be able to play with poison? And how it's going to be unique. So here's the thing. Pretty much every other unit in the game that's not the Empire has, or Bretonia has, some type of poison, right? Actually, let me think about it. The Dwarves don't. So Dwarves don't. The Greenskins do. The Vampire Counts do. And all their, like, all the Greenskins and all the different Vampire Counts factions do. The Goblin faction does as well. So yeah, I wonder if poison's going to be just extra effective with the Skaven. It would be very annoying to play against, but it would make a lot of sense, especially if you nerf their morale, armor, melee damage. Actually, melee damage not so much, but like morale and armor. I think that'll be interesting to make them more glass cannony, right? Gutter Runner Slingers and Slingers with Poison. Talk about those. So, next is Melee Infantry Death Runners. Okay, so this will be your very, very top tier, high level, expensive unit that you would play around with. I don't actually know anything about Death Runners. So, I guess I'm caught out here. I don't know anything about Death Runners. Next we have a Weapons team. A Warp Fire Thrower. I'm assuming just a regular catapult, and oddly enough, I'm not going to complain about it. So you catch me complaining about most of these things. Honestly, we don't know a lot. So, if it's just a flat-out catapult, it's completely fine by me. Missile Infantry, Poisoned Wind Globadiers, or Death Globe Bombardiers. Okay, again, so this is just on paper, and this is just a name. I feel like you can't comment on these until you actually see them in the battles, right, and how they do. Because they could be the best unit in the game, or they could be the worst unit in the game, not doing any damage and just, you know, chipping away their morale a little bit. Or they could just cut down hundreds of infantry in front of them. I'm kind of hoping for the latter, obviously, but here's the thing. I'm kind of hoping that the way you use them is high risk, high reward. You put them in front of your army because, you know, in the back they're completely useless. Both of these. Or maybe the Bombardiers less so. Maybe they have an arc, right? But the Globadiers shouldn't. So I'm hoping that it's that type of play. But if it's not, then again we'll have to see. Melee Monstrous Infantry Rat Ogres. Ugh. Okay. Basically just ogres that are rats, essentially. I think they'll be more along the lines of trolls, right? Because it's rat ogres, not ogre. Meaning you'll have a few of them, and they'll act pretty much like trolls, maybe actually a little bit more powerful since they're a monstrous infantry unit. Actually, maybe not, who knows. Actually, why? Why more powerful? No, I think this is just ogres, only rats. Reskinned, maybe they do. The stats will be a little bit different, but in the overall power ratings, I'd put them pretty much in the same spot. Artillery Plague Claw Catapult. So how is the Plague Claw Catapult going to be different from the Warp Fire Thrower? That is something I'm very much interested in. Next is the Warp Lightning Cannon. Oh god, here we go. Again, pretty much like the Globadiers and the Bombardiers. I have to see it to believe it. Next is the Doom Wheel. It's a vehicle. Okay, so like an Uber chariot. Right, a huge chariot that just rolls over stuff. How would you do an Doom Wheel? What would be a good way of doing it? Because here's the thing, with a chariot can stop, right? And there's nothing weird about it. It stops and then it moves on. A wheel can't really stop, can it? I mean, if it does, does it just sit there and take damage? It shouldn't be able to do any damage when it stops, right? Maybe a little bit from the crew that's on the Doom Wheel fighting, but you really shouldn't stop with it. So I'm wondering whether it's going to be one of those insanely micro-heavy and micro-intense units that we're going to see. Because having it stop would be disastrous, right? And it's good if it's like that. I would like that, actually. I would like it to be actually very different as a unit, rather than just, you know, be a reskin of something else in the game. So I'm quite curious about the Doom Wheel. And finally, we have the Hell Pit Abomination. Actually, I'm going to go back to here. And I'm going to take a look at the Hell Pit Abomination. There it is. Look at it. It's... Actually, let's play this entire thing again. Oh, God. There we go. Wow. So this would be our, or their equivalent of like an ogre, right? Or like maybe more like a chaos ogre, considering they're a bit more wild and they're a bit different, right? Yeah. Lovely. Let's actually see it fighting a little bit. This is in-engine, obviously, but Alright. Well, I'm seriously impressed by the unit. I am. I'm seriously impressed by the unit. Honestly, if I'm going to be brutally honest here, I find the ogres a little bit boring. They're essentially giant men that are slow and hit people over the head with bats and occasionally eat troops, which is supposed to be visceral and brutal, but I feel like I really wanted something like this. That's, you know, not a dragon, but something that's just a monstrosity and an abomination, and this is exactly what it is. I believe they're pumping some sort of drug into it as well, which is a very nice detail. So yeah, this is just glorious, and it's going to inspire fear and terror into the hearts of everyone that go up against the Skaven. Quite literally, actually, there's going to be a mechanic. There is a mechanic for that. But I wanted to check on the Doom Wheel once again. So where did we see it here? It's right there, right? So okay, so pay attention to the Doom Wheel. See, what does it do? Other than look cool at the moment. See, we don't know, and that's the thing. If you just charge in with it and it stops after, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 meters of charging in, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for it to be high risk, high reward, much like the other unit that I mentioned. And by that I mean, if it stops, it takes a fuck ton of damage, but if it doesn't stop, it can roll over, like, units around the... Or maybe like... okay, so imagine you have a block of... I can't actually select, can I? Imagine you have a block of... Imagine you have a block of... I swear to God. Imagine you have a block of infantry like this. So I would want the wheel, if it goes straight into the center, it gets stuck here and it takes a lot of damage, right? Naturally. But if you go around the edges, it'll just run these guys over and keep going. Right, around and then run into it again, and you get the idea, right? I'm kind of hoping for something like that rather than a dumb chariot that's just slightly bigger. I'm hoping for that, but yeah. We also have the Lizardman army rosters, the Dark Elf army rosters, and the High Elf army rosters, but well, to be honest, I haven't taken a look at those and I haven't done a video on those simply because I don't care that much for these, and I'll take a look at it when the game's released. But the Skaven are something that's very important to me and something that I find quite fascinating. So yeah, am I disappointed by the roster? No, not really. It's fairly standard. In the, you know, pretty much every nation or every faction in the game has artillery, monstrous infantry, tier 1, 2, 3 units, tier 1, 2, 3 skirmishers, heroes, caster heroes, stuff like that, assassins or agents, whatever you want to call them. It's fairly bog standard, which it doesn't make me disappointed, but I was hoping for more. In that I was hoping to play around with some more inventions from the Skaven, right? Some of the truly outlandish things that is available to them. So perhaps some of the more rare things. And this is, I think, where Regiments of Renown can come in. So rather than having a max level experience Storm Vermin unit, let's have like something new. Something completely new. That's not on this list and just max experience. I think that will be a good opportunity for Regiments of Renown to be a thing. But yeah, as far as everything else is concerned, especially the trailer, I do actually really like it, and yeah, that's about it for this video. So I'm curious, and I'm anxious to see the Skaven in Warhammer 2. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Please remember to like and subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video, especially because I will be playing through Warhammer 2 when it comes out. Maybe not the day it comes out, maybe a bit later. Depends on when I pick it up. It is $60. I'm not exactly swimming in cash, especially since I'm going to university. But yeah, I will have playthroughs in Warhammer 2 and in Warhammer Total War as well. So that's about it. Thank you. Until next time, have fun, take care, and bye-bye. Okay, just a few more comments that I forgot to add when initially making the video, so this is like after recording the entire thing. I wanted to add one more thing, right? So, as far as the unit roster is concerned, like I talked about, it's okay. I mean, I talked about it already, right? So there's positives and negatives. Here's the thing. The Skaven need to play differently. In the unit roster itself, we can't really see whether this is going to be achieved or not. Right? So it's a little bit of an indicator, and right now I'm a bit disappointed by this indicator that I'm getting, right? Here's why. The Skaven are very different to any other nation in the world, or any other faction in the world. I mean, you could argue that the vampires are completely different to everything else, and you would be right, but what I'm worried about is that they're just going to make the Skaven like the Empire, except that it's going to be rats. Right? The Skaven have clans within them, and fair enough, you can split the initial Skaven starting area into a few other different clans that have power, and then you can unify them through war or diplomacy, okay, but the Council of 13 is something that exists, and is something that is going to exist even after you take over the province, or take over all the different tunnels and whatever that you're going to be fighting over at the start of the game. I wonder what sort of unique mechanics and twists the Skaven are going to have. For example, like I said, the tunnels and the way they travel, their cities. this needs to be different. You can't just have them be like any other unit, or like the dwarves using the underway, and that's it. Right? For example, I don't think anyone ever made it to the Skaven capital, right? The underground cities and their deepest underground tunnels, right? There have been expeditions and all that. Even Grimgor Ironhide nearly got there at one point, but nobody ever made it. You need to include that, right? You can't just have an army randomly use the underway, or whatever form of travel is going to be in Warhammer 2, and just pop up immediately in front of your capital and attack it. Right, that's gonna... I mean, you can, and it is a total war game, so I guess fair enough. But if so, you're gonna need to have some new mechanics to go with the Skaven, and a lot of them. And right now, you would be able to select from 2 legendary lords at the start, so this tells me that the Skaven are going to be pretty much bog standard, which I don't want. So, in the unit roster and as the nation as a whole, I'm hoping that the Skaven will be something completely unique in terms of gameplay that we've seen so far. And I hope they do them justice. So that's just the extra bit I wanted to put in. I'm just really hoping that above everything else, I'm just hoping they're just a reskin of any other empire that's already there, with maybe like a slight buff to the unit, to the, I don't know, taxes, or like less in Skaven, in the Skaven core provinces, less public order or something like that. That is just boring. No. I'm hoping for flavor events, a lot of them, and I'm hoping for unique, meaningful mechanics, not just gimmicks. That's gonna make the Skaven stand out, because they should. They're unlike any other what's its face faction in the game. So there you go.